Hello and welcome. I'm Alison Duana. I'm a goddess asteroid astrologer and Gene Keys guide. And today I'm going to be looking at the Saturn return, and I feel like I can feel it coming already. So we've got an interesting week because Mercury has been retrograde and is now going to be going stationary on the 3rd of June and turning round and then going forward. So kind of just as we thought, oh yay, Mercury retrograde is over, in the same week, Saturn retrograde starts. So these can be quite stressful events, but my aim is to kind of give you the information that can help you to actually use the Saturn retrograde to your own advantage, to the advantage of humanity. You know, there's no point being an astrologer that's about doom and gloom. You know, we've got to, how do we work these transits? Okay, so I'm going to talk about the astrology first and then look at it through the lens of the gene keys, which is really fascinating. And I think for me, it always gives more precise information about what we can work with, you know, even if we know those shadows and gifts and cities, we just know that we can use that information to ride this cosmic wave. So Saturn is a fascinating planet because it can be the inner critic. It usually is in a part of our charts where we feel restricted. We really have to work hard to kind of break free from the inner critic, self-doubt, vulnerabilities. So Saturn has this, it's a very transformative planet. It's a very alchemical planet. And with Saturn, you know, many doors will shut. And the point with a Saturn transit is to find the one that's open for you, you know, and not get into, oh, I failed, disappointment. Yes, we might feel those things in the moment, but not to kind of get stuck in that emotional processing, if you like, of the event and to think, this is Saturn at work here. But Saturn is also about persistence. So sometimes it's about knowing which doors to keep knocking on and which doors to kind of go, okay, I don't think this is actually going to work, so I'm going to try something new. I'm going to move into my gifts of versatility and adaptability and do something different. So Saturn is in Aquarius at the moment. So if you were born in the 1960s time and you've had your Saturn return in the last couple of years, you might be getting a second Saturn return. So if your Saturn is anywhere between 18 and 25 degrees Aquarius, you're going to be directly affected by this time. And as I say, you'll have a second Saturn return during the retrograde. So that's something to be aware of as well, but it's going to affect all of us. And if you figure out where Aquarius is in your chart, for me it's the 11th house, for example, friends, community. So this is the area that will be most affected for me, but it'll be different depending on your chart. So Saturn is all about forms and structures. And the Aquarian structures are very special, really. You know, we're in a time where we see old structures breaking down, from biological structures to structures of government, structures of politics, even our money structures. A lot is under pressure to break down right now. And Saturn is there creating the new forms. Now, for the Aquarian age, the new forms need to have like specific qualities about them. There's this wonderful word, synarchy, in the gene keys, gene key 44. And it's about a non-hierarchical, organic way of being. So, so most of our organizations, most of our Western way of thinking is very kind of, there's one person, a few people at the top who direct everything. And this time is asking us to change, to bring more people into that fold of decision making potentially. And it's pretty challenging because all the rules aren't going to work from the past, you know. So they have to be new rules, like how are decisions made in organizations, or you know, how do you ensure that each person in the organization has unlimited potential to grow, because this is what a synarchy needs as well. So in many organizations, you know, and in our culture generally, that is not a possibility. That is not the aim. You know, we're being kept in certain positions to fulfill our roles within the capitalist system. You know, there's it would be revolutionary, really, if we all unlocked our full potential to expand into our gifts and our cities. So these kind of limitations as well, you know, feeling that limitation, which with Pluto retrograde at the same time in Gene Key 60, you know, you may have been feeling that anyway, the limitation of the forms you're in. Maybe even your own body feels like, you know, it needs a bit of an upgrade. so this is going to intensify. And for me, there's a key word coming through, which is equality. So it's quite interesting, because how I'm feeling this all is actually my family of origin. And, you know, equality is about the male-female. So this is kind of playing out actually with the brother-sister relationship, but how the parents perceive what the brother and the sister should be doing, and how they're treated. So these are very ancient tribal rules to make it not personal at all. Not that I think my brother would watch this, but if he is, this isn't about you. It's about the entrenched tribal rules in our culture. And, you know, now they're changing. You know, the cosmos wants equality. And so it's going to be really in our face when these patterns are not kind of supporting that. If the forms are not supporting equality, the pressure on them to break down is going to be even greater. And that will cause a polarization. You know, talking to a friend last night about the rise of kind of evangelical Christians who it always seems quite unbelievable, really, but are supporting more freedom to have guns, like no rules, just have a gun, you know, and you know, things around gay equality, attacking gay people, attacking abortion rights, which, you know, personally, I think it's an awful thing for a woman to have to go through an abortion. But if you watch programs like Called the Midwives on the BBC, you see the actual reality of when we didn't have access to abortion, you know, the terrible poverty people were in, the situations they had to go through, and many people lost their lives through having street abortions. So this is a time we need to think about these things in terms of equality and what the cosmos is trying to create. And in a way, again, it's not personal, because The forms that need to go forward are the ones that support synarchy, equality, people living together in peace. And if people's ideas are divisive, are not creating that, well, they're not really aligned with the creator as much as they would like, maybe even believe they are, and have deep fears of what will happen if they don't put these views forward. Then, you know, anyway, I didn't expect to find myself talking about that, so I'll probably have some rude comments in the chat now. Okay, well, let us proceed. So Saturn turns retrograde. It's going to go from 25 degrees Aquarius and it's going to go back to 18 degrees Aquarius very slowly. Now, it's a long retrograde and it comes to a close where Saturn will go stationary again on the 22nd of October 2022. Some beautiful numerology there. And this is a very significant date that I've been watching for ages because it's when the Sun-Venus superior conjunction happens that will mark the kind of turning from Venus in morning star and then she'll go into evening star. And I'm working with a group of women, which anyone is very welcome to join, even men actually, if you really felt called to it, that we're following this passage of Venus. And this is where we're going to end up on the 22nd of October. There's a Sun-Venus conjunction. It's at 29 degrees of Libra, so just at this right ending of Libra in the zodiac. And this is Gene Key 50, line 4. So it's the heart line of Gene Key 50, which is all about equilibrium and harmony. So for me, this is Saturn, the wise crone, the wise elder, saying, okay, whatever's going on now in the Saturn retrograde, this is what I'm aiming for, because this is the day I'm turning round, okay, is this equilibrium and harmony of the Gene Key 50. Okay, and then obviously Saturn will come back along that same road that it's traveled. So let's look at this through the eyes of the gene keys, which is really fascinating. Right, so Saturn at the moment is in Gene Key 30, which is called Celestial Fire. It's the shadow of desire, it's the gift of lightness, and it's the city of rapture. So, you know, it feels like, whoa, at the moment, so much of life is churning us through what my wonderful colleague, Jamie Price, who does light language, calls the teeth of the dragon. She's been really tuned into this crop circle. So one of the parts of the crop circle is this teeth of the dragon where we're kind of, we're being grinded, and we could expect a lot more of that, I think, as Saturn goes retrograde. But there's another part of the crop circle that we're moving into that's like a pinwheel. And having experienced this, it's like moving from this heavy, grinding, karmic energy and suddenly like, you know, like the wind picks you up like a dandelion seed and off you go. So that's kind of how I'm feeling that at the moment. And then that's the city of rapture. You know, I really love that word rapture because it like completely takes all your attention, those moments of rapture and delight and bliss. So that's where we begin. So good thing to pay attention to journal on, to notice What is it that you are desiring? And is that leading you down a good path or a problematic path? You know, desire is part of being a human, but it can lead us round and round for lots of years, especially if you get addicted to things. So that's a good one for all of us, really. So then Saturn is going to move then into the 49. I'm going to do some podcasts later on as this happens. So the 49 is a very powerful gene key, and it's called Changing the World from the Inside. So what is really fascinating is that Vesta, who is the priestess archetype, is going also, she's actually in 55, that's the beginning of Pisces when Saturn goes retrograde, but she's going to be also moving retrograde with Saturn back through Aquarius. So this is a really like whirl, because Vesta is all about creating through ritual, intention, prayer. She's about changing the inner landscape in order that we can change the outer landscape. So Vesta asks us to make this inner journey and to create from the inner world. As I say, she's the priestess archetype. So in this gene key, we've got the shadow of reaction, the gift of revolution, and the city of rebirth. Okay, and then finally, and actually just like within minutes, Saturn is going to go to gene key 13, where it turns around. It's only going to just touch into the line 6 of 13, and then it's going to come back again. And this is all about deep listening, the gene key 13. It's the shadow of discord, the gift of discernment, making the right choice, and the city of empathy. So through all these big changes that are coming, can we stay in our empathy? You know, as people press our buttons, as we press theirs, and the old forms polarize as well. Political, family dynamics can come under a lot of pressure now. And that is my invitation to always try bring yourself back to that listening and empathy. So namaste. Thank you very much for listening. Take care. Bye.